Good evening and assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of My FE Pick. Before we proceed further, just like to inform you that My FE Pick is a poll which runs every week on our social media pages. And your favorite campaign gets to speak to us. ठीक है तो उस पोल के बाद whoever is selected gets to speak to us, and this has nothing to do with the results which FE Pakistan holds. तो उसके लिए आपको इंतजार करना पड़ेगा. Today the winner campaign is the Menstrual Hygiene Day campaign, and to represent the campaign we have with us Fatma Baloch. She's the brand activation manager on Tex. And we have with us Tehmina Haq, who's the content manager, Mullen Low, Rauf. And we also have with us Sarah Nadeem Sheikh, who's the account executive from Mullen Low, Rauf. So, hi everyone. I think Sarah और Tehmina का internet issue चल रहा था बहुत देर से, so they aren't able to get connected. We'll start off with you, Fatma. How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Good. मुझे पता है you guys are located in Karachi, right?
Yeah, बिल्कुल.
So अभी तो काफी बेहतर हालात हैं. I think everything is opening up slightly. सब कुछ खुल गया है. Vaccination हो गई है. आपने कराई कि नहीं कराई?
Vaccination करा लिए, आधी हो गई है. Of course, like one dose is done and the second dose is left. So, but it's great news that vaccinations have started. So hopefully things will get back to track now.
Yeah. And the best part is, I think जो एक issue आ रहा था कि to convince people to just get vaccinated. People like my amma or older people, senior people, they were not ready to get themselves vaccinated. तो वो बहुत सारी counseling के बाद I'm like hearing good news कि सबके amma abba they're finally getting vaccinated, and that's I think one step. और हम जैसे third world country were able to get 70 lakh.
Yeah, bilkul. It was not expected at all. We thought that I was thinking that by the time age wise अगर हमारी turn आएगी तो पता नहीं कितने महीने साल गुजर जाएंगे. But it was like it's something that to appreciate.
I know
a country like us has progressed in this area at least.
That's good. अच्छा बताएं फातिमा, हमारे पोल में आपकी Menstrual Hygiene Day campaign, it got won. अच्छा, बड़ा interesting topic है आज का, and something which is very close to every woman's heart. At the age of 10 or 12, ये हर बच्ची को अम्माएं तो बताती हैं, स्कूल से पता चलता है, दोस्तें कान में डाल देती हैं. ये वो बातें होती हैं जो अभी तक हमारे सोसाइटी में एक्सेप्ट नहीं हुई हैं. एंड आई रिमेम्बर कि शायद मैं अम्मा से तो अपनी बात कर लेती हूँ, लेकिन कॉन्वर्जेशन इन अ रूम आज से 15 साल पहले या 10 साल पहले भी जहाँ पे इवन खवातीन बैठी हैं, was not considered a very morally good conversation. So कहा जाता है किस तरह की बात कर रही है, ये कैसे आप सबके सामने कैसे बात कर सकते हैं, ये तो छुपाई जाती हैं बातें.
Yeah.
इसको एक्सेप्टेंस इसकी एक्सेप्टेंस आई थिंक इसी तरह से आई कि people like you and your competitors, they came out, they started talking about it, and I think how do you see it? पहले तो मुझे ये बताएं कि where did the idea originated? तो मैं हर दफा ये सवाल पूछती हूँ आप लोग के फॉर्म के अंदर कि it's originated in the boardroom. तो ये बताएं कि किसके boardroom में ये आइडिया originate हुआ?
Okay, so हाँ, जहाँ से आपने बात स्टार्ट की थी कि yes, it is something that इसकी acceptability अभी भी आई नहीं है. अभी आने में उसको थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा. Like we are talking from the urban Pakistani market. और अगर हम भी बात करें, so we are also not everyone is very comfortable talking about periods, because अगर मैं बात करूँ तो of course I am from that industry, I can talk about it, but otherwise if I were not part of this industry, I would not be, you know, sitting here talking about periods on a live session. It would be considered, you know, like you mentioned, morally, that there's something wrong with it. Why are they talking about this thing on a public forum? So yeah, the acceptability is still not there, but I think we are getting there, because the purpose is not to talk about something, but to talk about something which is important to women's health, and to give that importance rightly to it. So yeah, it's something that हम लोग अभी भी इस पे काम कर रहे हैं, like, you know, us and the team, the agency's team together, we will be working towards it, and other brands as well of the same industry. और आइडिया कहाँ से ओरिजिनेट हुआ? सो इट वाज नॉट one boardroom, it was boardrooms, it was both of our offices. Abhi to ideas originate in our you know, in our homes, because we are not even going to offices. But jab idea originate hua to आई रिमेम्बर हम लोग ये सोच रहे थे कि हमें ये पता नहीं था पहले कि menstrual hygiene day is a day, right? Like there's Mother's Day and Father's Day, and there's breast cancer awareness day. All these awareness days are also there, and then other types of days. So when we searched for it, कि क्या is there something where people or brands can spread awareness regarding something which is important for women's health. So when we found out about this day, then we thought that why not do something about it? Just be scale pe kare, but you know, do something about it. So then the agency got on board, and then all of us were very excited. Like this is a topic just pe all the women of the agency and us, we were all like on the same page. We were, this was like our passion point, that we were excited to do something about it, and interest ke saath, you know, with all the enthusiasm, they came up with some ideas regarding it कि क्या करना चाहिए. So आइडिया वहाँ से आया कि डे है तो इस डे पे कुछ अवेयरनेस के लिए we should do something. And then we brainstormed some ideas, and the first idea which they gave, this was the first idea that they gave basically. So it was just simple, it, you know, it would hit the right mark, and उसमें कोई changes back and forth कुछ भी नहीं था. We thought that it's really a great idea, और थोड़ा सा फन था, quirky सा था. It had like a light-hearted tone, बहुत ज़्यादा एक serious lecture नहीं था. So further, I think Tanya and Sarah have also joined. They can also take us through how you got with this idea.
So मुझे बताएं, Sarah and can you guys hear me, right? अच्छा, मुझे बताएं, म्यूट का तो नहीं है आप? जल्दी नहीं, I can't hear you because इंटरेस्टिंग चीज ये कि ये वो टॉपिक है जिसमें शायद 80% इनसाइट्स तो आपको घरों से ही मिल जाती है. You know, because when I was going through your campaign, I saw that all the myths which were busted exist in every single home. हर घर में ये बात होती है कि भाई नहाना नहीं है. इनफैक्ट पहले दिन तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं.
Yeah.
Stuff like
and you still doubt it, you know, even like when you get old, you're like, acha chalo, let's be safe and let's not take a shower. Instead of, you know, we are encouraging people to, at least if you have something in your mind, why don't you just maybe ask your doctor whenever you have your next appointment. We encourage you to ask some expert who has the knowledge for it, rather than, you know, your neighbor or some other friend that you might have who's on this, she's on the same boat as you, she doesn't know the facts. So instead of, you know, misguiding each other or chup ke ye baatein karna, and then it affects the health, mental and physical, both, you know, well-being of females.
So मुझे बताएं, सारा आप बताएं कि फातिमा ने कहा कि we had a lot of discussions, a lot of brainstorming. तो घरों में यूजुअली आप लोग कनेक्ट कर रहे थे because लॉकडाउन था last year. when you guys actually, one of my questions was going to be related to lockdown, but मुझे ये बताएं कि because I see a female lead in this for this campaign, ठीक है, so brand side से भी एक female lead कर रही है और creative agency से भी. So was it easier to communicate that way? अगर कोई लड़का brand lead कर रहा होता या फिर यहाँ पे वो होता, तो would it have been a little difficult to come out of your safe zone, जैसे होता है? Can't hear you. Padma, can you hear Tenia?
No. Tenia, Sarah, are you guys on mute?
Tenia and Sarah, yeah.
Maybe.
आप लोग म्यूट पे तो नहीं हैं, लेकिन आई थिंक आपकी कोई जो सेटिंग्स होती हैं ऑडियो की, आई थिंक यू हैव टू चेक दोस. वैसे हमें टेक्नोलॉजी ने बहुत आगे पहुंचा दी है, लेकिन हम लोग अभी भी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं इंटरनेट के साथ, किसी ना किसी चीज के साथ.
अच्छा, in the meantime, I think वो लोग check कर लें अपने settings. So I'll just talk about the lockdown thing. So luckily we just had gotten done with all the on ground जो भी content बनाना, idea generation, mainly content बनाना was something that उस peak lockdown में नहीं होता, because we released the campaign in May 2020. So this was shot in January 2020, like January, February tak sara kaam we had gotten it done. And then March pe, the virus happened and nobody knew about it. So even if it were like a 2-month or 1-month delay from our side, then it could not have happened, because at that time we were not equipped to have a shoot and we were like in the peak lockdown. So luckily it happened in our favor that we had already done all our homework and it was just prepared and ready to go on air. So, and digital heat campaign three, so digital media was in our favor.
Yes, it was booming at that time.
Yeah.
The right approach to launch it digitally that way. अच्छा सारा जल्दी से मुझे आवाज निकाल के. Yes, we hear you now. Loud. अच्छा, तो कंटेंट क्रिएटिव साइड, हम ये अभी यही बात कर रहे थे कि ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हो गई और आइडिया निकल आया कि पहले तो ये कि सर्च हो गया कि हाँ एक डे है, जो कि इनफैक्ट मुझे भी नहीं पता था. मुझे भी थ्रू दिस कैंपेन आई गेट टू लर्न कि भाई ऐसा कोई स्पेसिफिक डे होता है जिसे हमें एक्चुअली सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए फॉर वेरियस पर्पस. तो मुझे बताएं कि एक तो मैं आपसे ये सवाल कर रही थी, हाउ वाज इट, हाउ डिफिकल्ट और हाउ इजी इट इज टू कम्युनिकेट नाउ दैट यू आर अ फीमेल लीड फ्रॉम द ब्रांड साइड एंड फ्रॉम द एजेंसी साइड. आदमी होता किसी भी साइड पे, वुड इट डिफिकल्ट होता या अपनी सेफ जोन से आप लोग बाहर निकल जाते हैं?
अच्छा, इट्स अ वेरी फनी स्टोरी, बट ऑर्गेनिकली predominantly we are all a female, and मजे की बात ये कि consistent females ने काम किया इस ब्रांड में. अभी भी जो है वो ज़्यादातर फीमेल्स ही हैं इस ब्रांड पे, जो कि लीड कर रही हैं, मैनेज कर रही हैं, कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रही हैं एंड ऑल दैट. सो फॉर अस इट वाज अ वेरी वो था कि हिट एंड ट्राई देयर एंड देन हो रही थी. कुछ भी समझ आता था, वी यूज्ड टू क्विकली गैदर अराउंड एंड लाइक ये कर सकते हैं, ये कर सकते हैं, what impact will it make, does it make sense?
Because the topic in itself was so relatable, the day in itself, so we knew that we all face these issues on a monthly basis, so we know कि क्या सही है क्या नहीं है. So it was all in the open, all the ideas, all the creativity just came running in कि हमें ये भी करना है, हमें ये भी करना है. And to our surprise, a lot of people did not know about this day कि menstrual hygiene day भी कोई चीज होती है. And they were and I remember when the campaign came in, everybody was like बैंग ऑन, हमने पहले ये क्यों चीज नहीं सोची. ये सारी मिथ्स जो हम बचपन से सुनते आ रहे हैं और अब मतलब हमें पता लग रहा है कि they're not in actual, मतलब ये
scientific reason कोई नहीं है, there's no logic behind it. It's just a old wives' tale जो कि आगे बढ़ती जा रही है और कुछ actuality, कुछ में कोई substance नहीं है. So yeah, for us it was like a very fun experience. Even now we all were very excited about it कि भाई finally we are providing that platform to girls in a very light-hearted way. You can actually discuss about these things जिसके बारे में आपको नहीं पता होता.
अच्छा, तो तेहना, बट मेरा क्वेश्चन ये नहीं था, मेरा ये था कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल ब्रांड साइड पे कोई आदमी होता So वो एक जो अभी आप लोग आराम से यू डिस्कस एनीथिंग, ये वो घर में क्या बात हुई, नानी दादी ने क्या कहा, अच्छा हमारे घर में तो ये भी सोचा जाता है कि लड़की फर्स्ट डे आप लेटे रहो, आराम करो, फर्स्ट डे है तो बस आराम करो, मतलब एंड आई हैव सीन दिस हैपनिंग इन लॉट ऑफ केसेस. आई नो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल जो पहले दिन सिर्फ आराम करते हैं, बिकॉज एंड इफ हम पूछ भी लें गलती से कि भाई क्या हुआ, खैरियत है, तबीयत खराब है, हाँ यार पीरियड्स हो रहे हैं. सो एक तो वो पीरियड्स को एक क्या एक बहुत कोई बड़ा ट्रॉमा हमारी लाइफ में, बिकॉज आई कंसिडर इट एज अ पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ, because it's a part of life of every woman. So is it a myth also कि यार पहला दिन है, आराम करो, लेटे रहो, कुछ करने का दिल नहीं चाह रहा, या क्या ये भी myth हो सकती है?
Okay, so the reason why Thursday is so hard on all girls and women generally is because आपकी body जो है सब hormonal changes के through जा रही होती है, जिसकी वजह से आपको fatigue और lethargy already feel हो रही होती है. So that is very much real. There are a few girls जिनको पता भी नहीं चलता उनके periods हो रहे होते हैं. They're the lucky ones, God's favor. इनको feel नहीं, and they can go about their day बड़े आराम से, but generally speaking usually यही होता है कि since आपकी body वो उन changes के through जा रही होती है, तो आप naturally feel ही lethargic और fatigue करते हो. तो that's why people want to take some rest rather than being out there and doing their thing. तो वो चीज़ एक है. तो I wouldn't say it's a myth. It's more to do with your body and how the female body functions. उस पे है. So yeah.
अच्छा, मुझे पता है सिंसियर के लॉन्च से पहले there were a lot of other brands which were already in the market. And नाम तो हम ले ही सकते हैं, आपके competitors. Always हो गया, Butterfly हो गया. You may add to the list. What is one thing which differentiates Sincere from the rest of the brands?
Fatma, would you like to take this one?
Yeah. So yes, अब market जो है ना हमारी, it's a growing market, it's a developing market. So we have a few brands जिनका अभी आपने नाम भी लिया. So if I talk about their brand personality, if I talk about what they have to offer, so I'm not going to compare my brand with them, but I think जो एक चीज I would say that which was missing in the scenario, or what we thought there was a gap there in the market. So एक ये था कि there aren't many choices for the consumers. So the power does not rest with the consumer. They're kind of bound that whatever there is available on the shelves, they just grab and go. Rather they just grab and run. So ऐसी यहाँ पे तो this would be like an advanced discussion that something that others are not offering that we are offering. The market has not even evolved to that area. Currently, they use whatever they get because there aren't many choices, and there's also not a lot of communication around it, like what do they need and what are the current problems that they are having with the products that they are using. So people don't talk about these things. So अगर मैं product quality की भी बात करूँ, so yes, there are many things in the quality as well, which we found out that there are certain problems that females face. So during our researches, we found out they're facing problems related to गर्मियाँ होती हैं, so they get rashes, they're not very comfortable. But unfortunately, whatever they get, they have to use whatever they are getting in the market. They just have to make way with that. So एक तो ये चीज थी. Secondly, communication wise, the communication was I think that is also still evolving. So the brands are also now their communication is evolving, and the market has grown since its inception, since the first brand came and developed the market, and a lot of credit goes to that as well. So communication bhi is stage pe hai that what we have to offer is something that would be relevant for the millennials, or something that they would say, okay, I can make this choice, this brand is speaking to me communication wise, brand wise, I can understand what they're saying, and this brand is relevant to me. So as simple as that, I think these were the things that were missing. So I wouldn't say that we are someone different, but there was just a gap that we wanted to fill in the market.
So मुझे ये बताएं सारा और तहनिया, how difficult was it to get approvals from Fatima and the team?
You know, to our guys, it wasn't difficult at all. And here is where I thought that in the अगर कोई female brand मतलब female team है तो how important that was. This is how the process was made even easier, because हमारे पास वो सारे creativity we would ask Fatma, and I've never heard her say no. She didn't say no. Improvements है वो सब अपनी जगह पर होती थी, but she was always ready for different ideas और क्या करें हम इसमें, and it was very easy for her.
I think those two, Fatma and Madiha, that they were spot on with it. They said कि भाई हम ना एक platform दे रहे हैं menstrual hygiene day का, and we want to own it and we want to run with it. Because menstruation से पहले periods का word भी use करना was considered as a taboo in past, and ये use होता था usually. And they're like, sure, do it. You need to, like put it out there. And they're like, and social impact. And they're like, yes, we want the backlash. Zaruri hai, it's important. Because then literally the people who are
आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है तहनिया. फातिमा, आपको भी लग रहा है कोई आपके पास भी?
Yeah, आवाज में distortion है.
हाँ, probably.
you guys hear us now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
So, like I was saying, that we're so open to ideas that even in the agency, we have to tell them, okay, possible back. And they're like, koi masla nahi, no back. We're ready for it, because ये conversation बहुत ज़रूरी है. It is a very important topic. People need to understand, need to talk about it. And they were like confused with it. And then फिर हमने ये देखा, हमने अपनी video की है. The comments on the videos below, उसमें 85% positive थे, जो negative थे उनको भी positive comment जो कर रहे थे. They were literally advocating for the bill. They said कि नहीं, ये जो बात कर रहे हैं सही है, important है. Conversation needs to be done. To know. So yeah, it was amazing. I think kudos to Fatma and Madiha for letting us, do what we want to do. Very bold move by, blatantly coming out and saying it that yes, menstrual hygiene day है, ये मसले हैं, इनके बारे में बात करनी है. So yeah.
अच्छा, एक और चीज बताएं मुझे कि ये आप लोगों ने आइडिया ब्रेनस्टॉर्म हुआ एंड देन यू केम अप विद दीस इनसाइट्स कि लेट्स जो हमारे पास मिथ्स हैं, हमारी नानी दादियां हमेशा से बोलती आ रही हैं, लेट्स वर्क ऑन दोज एंड इनको तो क्रिएटिव फिर आप लोगों ने यू थॉट ऑफ अ क्रिएटिव आइडिया.
Yeah.
एंड उसके बाद एग्जीक्यूशन हुई. इट वाज जस्ट लाइक खानिया आमिर जिसको आपने यूज किया थ्रू आउट द कैंपेन. और बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सी आप लोगों ने कुछ भी नहीं, इट वाज जस्ट लाइक फ्लैश वो आई, उसने 3-4 बल्ले घुमाए, मिथ्स बस्ट किए एंड देन सो आर यू लाइक काइंड ऑफ थिंकिंग कि यार देयर आर मोर मिथ्स टू इट, लेट्स जस्ट वर्क ऑन सम a new flavor to it, या कुछ उसमें और चीज लेकर आए, या are you like कोई season 2 टाइप चीज आने वाली है इसकी, या are you planning a show or something on those lines?
Fatma, what do you answer?
Yeah, I think जब हम myths की बात करते हैं, so those 3 were just starters. I mean, they opened up a huge box. So those were just 2-3 myths to get the discussion going. और जब हमने there are Facebook closed groups on all female groups on Facebook, so वहाँ पे we did some discussions and we shared the admins shared these ads and they asked the people in those groups to share their experiences and the myths that they have heard of. So you won't believe, I mean, there were hundreds and hundreds of people talking about various myths. जो किसी के गांव में किसी ने कुछ सुना, तो I mean all those people are from the urban part of Pakistan, but yet जो now I cannot imagine कि अगर गांव में किस तरह की लेवल की बातें होंगी, अगर यहाँ पे भी even educated people who are now adults, but whatever you have heard in the past that kind of stays with you unless you try to bust it. So we wanted to encourage them to take a step and bust it, because some of those myths were such a problem in their life. Already a girl is going through periods, she's not feeling too well, she's already dealing with something, she may be pained or going through hormonal changes or mood swings, and now she has to deal with an additional layer of taboos and myths that she has to cross, that okay, you shouldn't, for example, there were many popular ones, many popular myths, और उसमें ये भी था कि आप अचार को टच नहीं कर सकते या फिर आप खा नहीं सकते,
चीजें नहीं खा सकते, हाँ.
so yeah, so there are all these myths are like not only really only limited to Pakistani audiences, but different countries में different तरह के myths होते हैं. अगर कभी search करेंगे तो इंडिया में कुछ और मिलेंगे, अफ्रीका में कुछ और मिलेंगे. So all these myths have been like there through humanity. So that's some common ground that we shared with all cultures. So yes, we don't think that the topic is closed, and we think there's still room for it to discuss further, because last year was just a starter, and this year again we had a rerun of the same campaign of busting period myths with a little different flavor, because we wanted people to talk about more myths. So उसमें हमने different भी content डाला, but so far I think this topic is yet not covered. So for season 2, या फिर every new menstrual hygiene day we can do something different, but we thought abhi ye topic close nahi hua hai. There's a lot of room for discussion in this, and this is so important for people, because it's really it's a big hindrance in people's lives to come across so many things that they don't talk about. So the objective was to get the conversation going and get a debate started.
एंड आई थिंक एक चीज ये कि जब हम लोग अपने उस सेफ जोन, जैसे मैं कहती हूँ कि यार इसके ऊपर बात करना, अननेसेसरीली बात करना इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑब्वियसली, लेकिन इसके ऊपर बात करने पे कोई शर्म नहीं है. इट्स अ टॉपिक इट्स विच एवरी वुमन, एवरी गर्ल एट द एज ऑफ 10+ गोज थ्रू इट. सो बात करना इज जरूरी. अननेसेसरीली खामाखाई एक कमरे में बैठ के इस पे बात करना कि वो दैट इज सेपरेट डिस्कशन. बट ऑब्वियसली वो चीज से हमें बाहर निकालना है औरतों को, खवातीन को, टू कम आउट ऑफ दैट शर्म आ रही है उस टॉपिक पे बात करते हुए. व्हाई? गो टॉक टू योर डॉक्टर, गो टॉक टू योर टीचर, गो टॉक whoever you are comfortable with. बट ऐसी चीज नहीं है जिससे आप छुपा के रखें या कुछ. सो एक और चीज मैं बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग आपको बताऊं कि जब रमजान होते हैं और रोजे आते हैं तो एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग, आई थिंक वो सबके घरों में होती होगी. सो आई रिमेम्बर कि जब मैं छोटी थी, एंड ऑब्वियसली रोजे तो छुटेंगे, अब आप किसी के सामने खाएंगे भी नहीं कुछ, एंड यू ऑब्वियसली आपको डाइट तो खाना तो कुछ पड़ेगा, लेकिन आप छुप छुप के खाएंगे, और आप ऑब्वियसली वो घर में वो क्रिएट नहीं करेंगे कि अच्छा पीरियड्स हो रही है. So I think I also went through it. मैं किसी के साथ, and even now at this point, and still ऑफिस भी होगा तो मेरे रोजे छुटेंगे, I will not. So I think कुछ चीजें हम out of respect भी कर रहे होते हैं कि हम बता नहीं रहे या डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे, या जरूरत क्या है सबके सामने खाने की, खामोशी से जाके चुपके से खा लिया या कुछ कर लिया. So एक ये वाली चीज भी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है, जो आई थिंक आई एम श्योर सबके घरों में हुई होगी, मेरी तरह कोई बताएगा नहीं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. I think this has a lot to do with our previous generation, like our parents. So what they would allow in the house to happen, if they allow a culture where you don't have to wake up for sehri, because you're not going to fast anyway. So or they make you pretend because it's kind of against their culture. So ye bahut common cheez hai. It happens all across Pakistan, and it's such a common thing that we've heard so many cases of this. So I think now the onus would be on our generation, when we as parents, what we would allow or not allow in our houses, and how we educate the male children as well as the female children, and how the fathers and the other male members of the house also react to it. So I think things will take, you know, at least 1 or 2 generations to change. It doesn't happen so quickly.
आपने कोई रिसर्च की जिसमें ओके सो आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द बाइंग हैबिट, खरीदता कौन है घर में, इज इट द वुमन, जैसे यू नो फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे घर में आई एम द वन हु बाइज इट, बट पहले तो यू नो पहली जनरेशन तो कभी ऐसा हो नहीं सकता था कि औरतें जाएं और दुकान से जाके खरीदें. I think it was mostly the men of the house who used to buy it. Has the trend changed over a period of time?
So what the trend is, different तरह की buying होती है. If I tell you, if it's a younger female, like a child or somebody who's a teenager or younger than that, so the mother would be buying, and the kid would not also have a say in the decision, and they wouldn't know कि क्या product है, क्या आ रहा है. The mother would just make a decision based on whatever she knows. Other than that, there are also cases जिसमें ख़वातीन या तो पर्चे पे लिख के दे देती हैं, like they would write it on a piece of paper, or the male member would just go and give that piece of paper to the shopkeeper, and they would put it in a brown bag and give it to them. And या फिर आपने घर के किसी मुलाजिम को, you know, किसी को दे दिया कि go and get this from the store. ये अक्सर जो छोटे shops होते हैं, general trade जिसको हम कहते हैं, it would happen on those type of stores. अब क्योंकि modern trade भी आ गया, so modern trade is somewhere where you can, you know, you take your trolley, you can have a look at whatever all is available in the aisles, and then you can pick and choose. So अब थोड़ा सा trend उस तरफ भी जा रहा है, shifting. The trend is shifting in a way that now people can see what's available on the shelves, and either the mom makes the decision, or if it's like the millennials, then they can make their own decisions, because people who are from their 20s to 40s, and they know that they have experienced enough, and they know what kind of product suits them. थोड़ा बहुत exposure भी बढ़ रहा है, because we have the internet now, we know what's going on in other parts of the world as well. थोड़ा सा content भी इस तरह के है कि exposure आपको मिल रहा होता है. So now they make different decisions. वरना पहले तो ये होता था कि, you know, whatever आपने शायद brand name एक आपको जो पता है आपने लिख लिया, and that's what you get. So this is the trend which is happening, and now online stores भी हैं, so online भी काफी सारे लोग they get it from Daraz, they get it from many other platforms, so it's easy for them that they don't have to go and face that embarrassing part, because वो जो situation है ना, वो I think it will not go away so quickly. The part where a female goes into the store and she has to stand in the aisle, and she's embarrassed to stand there, so she won't take a lot of time to stand there, so she'll just quickly make the decision, and जो भी उसको मिला वो उसने trolley में डाल दिया, and a person would always come running to you and give you the brown paper bag, so that you put it inside it, so that nobody sees what you've purchased. So this is the purchase habit जो काफी कॉमन है, और अभी भी है और पहले भी थी, बट ये है कि अभी people are a little more free in order to, you know, they can see what brands are there in the market, and थोड़ा जो उनको time मिलता है, they can make that decision. और because of digital media, तो digital media पे they know कि कौन से brands आ रहे हैं, it's bit of a more personal communication, it's not out there on television where everybody is watching. So purchase decision वो पहले से बना के, then they can go and pick the brand that they want. So things are changing in that area as well.
अच्छा, एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज जो मैंने डिफरेंस देखा in your campaign and a lot of other competitors. So you've used you जैसे you know always use करता है, so teenage girl, you know, शायद जिसके start हुए होते हैं periods. You've used I think someone who is late 20s like Hania Amir. So आपने brand personality अपनी थोड़ी सी बड़ी use की, या जैसे कहें target market आपने थोड़ा सा बड़ा हो उसके. So was it like कोई deliberate effort थी, या you wanted to stay away from the already acquired target group?
Yeah, it was well thought out. Okay, why not? Why don't we go with the same audience as the competition, and why differentiate? So इसका मैं background थोड़ा सा बता दूं. जो a competition is already targeting younger girls, school-going girls, who are faced with their first menstrual cycle. So that being said, उनके हाथ में decision नहीं होता, तो there you are targeting basically the mother and also the child. So a lot of work has already been done in that part to develop the market, to give basic awareness of what periods are, and basically conversions from cloth to napkins. So that has already been taking place since I think 2 decades or so. So as Sincere, as a new brand, we have come into the market, and we want to appeal to those audiences who can make their own decisions, who have had little bit of experience, who are not faced with their first menstrual cycle. So they know that what kind of products are there, what suits them, what does not suit them, so they can make their own decisions. And these are not cloth users who we are targeting. These are already, users of sanitary napkins. So they know what they're into. So the decision was deliberately to target this age bracket, जिसको आप millennials कहें, या little younger than that, 18 onwards, 18 to 40, ये age bracket होती है. So इसमें फिर as you go on older, then there are also females who also have children who are getting their periods, तो वो उनको भी फिर influence करती हैं. So it was a deliberate and strategic decision from our side to target this audience.
So agency मुझे ये बताया कि आप लोगों ने इसको totally digital कर दिया था, ठीक है? I think it was the right move because उस वक्त digital ही boom कर रहा था, lockdown था, brands को समझ भी नहीं आ रहा था, to advertise or not. सब घर बैठे थे, तो we were forced to use the digital mediums. And then a very interesting thing which you guys did was going to those groups जो बड़े कोई खवातीन based groups है, जो मतलब जिन पे बड़ी कोई जबरदस्त किस्म की कॉन्वर्सेशंस चल रही होती हैं, और वो कभी मुझे 5 मिनट 10 मिनट का टाइम मिलता है, तो मैं भी बस ऐसे स्क्रॉल डाउन करती हूँ, देखती हूँ आज का टॉपिक क्या चल रहा है. तो वो किस तरह से, हाउ डिड यू गाइस कम अप टू द आइडिया कि यार ये ग्रुप्स, लेट्स जस्ट एम फॉर दीज ग्रुप्स?
Because we sort of knew कि अगर conversation कहीं से start करनी है तो इन group से अच्छी कोई चीज़ नहीं है, because वो completely female oriented group थे. हमें पता था because all of us कभी भी हमें time मिलता है, we would go to these groups. हम normal news feed scroll कर रहे होते हैं, कोई ऐसा interesting topic हमने देख लिया, हम लोग भी comment करेंगे, we'll also take part in the conversation. So we knew कि हमें इन groups को, and it was relatable also, मतलब female audience को ही हम target कर रहे थे. तो हमें पता था कि अगर हमने यहाँ पर इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को स्टार्ट किया तो वी आर श्योर कि हमें डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, डिफरेंट रीजन्स, हर जगह से हमें उनके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज पता चल जाएंगे कि किस तरह से वहाँ पर, किस तरह से उस मिथ्स को, ये कौन से मिथ्स वहाँ पर होते हैं, हाउ आर दे डिफरेंट फ्रॉम व्हाट वी हैव बीन हियरिंग, एंड किस तरह से एक इन्फॉर्मेटिव भी हो जाएगा, अवेयरनेस वाला पार्ट भी आ जाएगा.
ये थोड़ा strategic था, of course. Closed group was a preference because, again, like you said, अभी भी the conversation about periods, about menstruation is still very, very stigmatized, right? हर कोई, अब तो हम चले आपस में खुल के बात कर लेंगे, लेकिन कुछ लोग हैं जो कि अभी भी reluctant हैं, वो शायद एक open platform में आराम से इतनी openly बात ना करें. लेकिन when you give them that safe zone where there is only females, they know कि अगर if they share their problem, people will empathize with them. उनको समझ आएगा कि मैं क्या बात कर रही हूँ. Like you said कि हमने जब अपना internal कर रहे थे, तो उसमें सबसे अच्छी बात ये थी कि we were all females, so we could easily relate to things. So closed group was that place for us, that space for us जहाँ पे we had our teaching, and we knew कि conversation start करनी है तो यहीं से करनी है, because women will be more easier to talk to than on an open platform. So yeah, it was a strategic move.
And I think you're direct user, of course,
Of course,
yeah.
yes.
Influencer, in I would say rather, कि वो खुद ही influencer है ना वो औरत. अच्छा मुझे बताएं, आप लोगों की फेवरेट कैंपेन पिछले महीने से लेके अभी तक, समझे आप 2 महीने रमजान ऑनवर्ड्स, एनी कैंपेन व्हिच यू गाइस थिंक यार बहुत अच्छी कैंपेन बनी?
अभी हमारी सिंसियर की कैंपेन चल रही है सीजन 2।
अभी अपनी ब्रांड के बारे में नहीं बताना है और मार्केट में क्या हो रहा है। अभी पता चल जाएगा फातिमा ये लोग काम करते हैं सही से या नहीं करते। इन्होंने और कमर्शियल देखे नहीं देखा भी पता चल जाएगा।
I saw this initiative that Unilever took with Santex. That's like our competitor brand, but they're giving out pads on a discounted price. I think something like that. So I think that was a good move. It was a corporate thing, but it was a good move. So yeah. मगर आज सच कुछ उन्होंने ह्यूज कैंपेन की नहीं, मैं सिर्फ लिंक्डइन पे देखा है उनका थोड़ा।
आपने खाली अपने कंपेटिटर क्यों, आप देयर आर सो मेनी अदर ब्रांड्स इन द मार्केट, यू कैन टॉक अबाउट बेवरेजेस, यू कैन टॉक अबाउट टी, एफएमसीजीज में और क्या आपके पास बिस्किट्स हो गए, कितनी कैंपेन्स रिलीज हुई अभी। सो बताएं कोई अच्छी कैंपेन आप लोगों को लगी हो?
अच्छी कैंपेन, आई थिंक सर्फ रमजान was a very good campaign. Yeah, it was a very good campaign, and we were pretty sure that's gonna get it.
Yeah, we were also part of the same category, but Surf Ramzan was a campaign which actually made it through. I think that's a mutual choice कि हमें वो अच्छा लगा था।
मैं recall करूँ तो मुझे वो अभी Glow and Lovely ने जो Fair and Lovely जो rebrand किया Glow and Lovely का, उनका जो song था मिट्टी के 100 रंग, that was really good. So yeah.
फातिमा आप बताएं आपको कौन सी कैंपेन अच्छी लगी?
I think everyone waits for the surf campaign nowadays, so they've done a pretty good job that way. So yeah, surf campaign would be that. और आप also अगर FE की बात करें, you're talking about 2020. I think what Tanya was giving examples was of 2020, last year or this year.
So I'm talking about any campaigns इस साल जो चली हैं रमजान के बाद onwards. So जैसे मैंने भी I saw a lot of campaigns like Coke की आई, फिर then I saw Super की आई, और cooking oils की आई, तो बहुत सारी campaigns आई उसके बाद. But I was thinking कि maybe anything which होता है ना आपको हिट करता है कि यार ये तो बड़ी जबरदस्त। अच्छा एक कोई कैंपेन बताएं जो आप लोग कहते हैं यार टाइम जाया किया इस ब्रांड ने, ये कैंपेन ऐसे बनानी ही नहीं चाहिए। बताएं।
I would let that pass. Sarah, you can answer.
I think we're also gonna pass this one. We're still in the advertising business, so I think we shouldn't say.
We're still very
आपने फौरन सोचा यार मुझे स्विच करना पड़ा तो कैसा ना हो कि मैं उधर ही चली जाऊँ।
पता क्या? See, when a campaign goes live now, it's not just a one-man show. It's like a huge team of people working behind it. So we can't be just like यार कि ये तो campaign बिल्कुल ही फारिश की होनी नहीं चाहिए थी। ठीक है, pros and cons हर campaign के होते हैं। बहुत कम ऐसी campaigns होती हैं जो बिल्कुल spot on होती हैं। There's always room for improvement. So we can't actually pick one.
तो आप ये बताएं कि यार मुझे ये कैंपेन इसलिए अच्छी लगती थी ये ब्रांड, लेकिन because I remember in one of my sessions someone was talking about Sprite or 7up, I don't remember, वो जो नया कमर्शियल लॉन्च हुआ था ड्यूरिंग रमज़ान और उन्होंने पूरी स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज कर दी थी। ठीक है, सो उसने यही डिस्कस किया कि इतनी अच्छी स्ट्रैटेजी थी, उन्होंने फूड पे काम कर रहे थे, दे वर ऑलवेज टॉकिंग अबाउट फूड, बट अचानक से इमोशनल उस पे ले गए strategy पे. I'm sure they must have a reason for going emotional that way. But then on the other side of the table हम लोग consumers या हम लोग देख रहे होते हैं, तो हम लोग जब analysis कर रहे होते हैं वो अलग part होता है, तो हम लोग कहते हैं यार अचानक से strategy, and I'm sure a brand would definitely be able to justify why they took that measure at that point in time. But होगा ऐसा कुछ ना कुछ brand, I'm sure हम सब देखते हैं और हम कहते हैं क्या किया यार, क्यों किया, तो बता दें अगर बताना चाहें आप लोग।
I think कभी-कभी आप सोचते कुछ और हैं, like at the ideation phase you're thinking about something, और कभी either execution में कुछ problems आ जाती हैं, and we're all like always wary कि whatever we are thinking right now, it's just in our imagination, and how well it will be presented when it actually comes into life. तो उसका पर्पस तो कुछ होता ही होगा अगर entire team has made so much effort into making something and building a campaign. अब वो पता नहीं या तो कहाँ पे कोई प्रॉब्लम्स आती होंगी, या तो एग्जीक्यूशन स्टेज पे आ गई होंगी, या मे बी इट डिड नॉट रेजोनेट विद द ऑडियंसेस. तो
अच्छा, चलें जल्दी से बताएं कि why should people participate in the awards program? सिर्फ आपके पास 30 सेकंड है, जल्दी से बताएं. पहले I want it from the agency. Why do you think it's important to participate in awards program?
It's healthy competition. So people should put their work forward, something that they're very proud of. So if someone asks me, I'm very proud of this campaign, MHD की जो हमने Sincere के साथ की है, I'm very proud of that work. And yeah, why not? I would want people to see it and judge it कि हाँ ठीक है, did it hit the mark? Because from consumer perspective, it has. हमारे results बहुत अच्छे आए. So yeah, why not let the advertising fraternity have a say in it as well?
And there's a lot of hard work involved, not just of one person, like the entire team.
Yeah.
There's an entire team behind it. So I mean, we're all always open to improvements and feedback also. So I mean, why not?
ये देखें, ये कंपेटिटर फिर भी आप बोल गई नाम ना लेते हुए भी. I always feel. Fatma, why do you feel it's important to participate in awards?
I think it's at the end of the day when you get recognition for anything, any efforts that you have made. So different departments हो गए, different functions हो गए, उनको कहीं ना कहीं से they get some sort of recognition through any body or any particular organization. So why not we get our efforts recognized through this body that we have, which is an internationally recognized body. So एक आपको एक recognition मिलती है, and then validation मिलती है. Although that was not the purpose of whatever your campaign was. Your campaign was made for a business purpose, and whether it fulfilled that or not is a totally different thing. But putting it on the case and then actually thinking about also what you did, was it meeting the target or not, also makes you think about what you did. Was it right? Can you do something to improve it? And then if someone wins and gets an award, then there's nothing like it. They get validation for their efforts, and kind of tells them you were on the right track. And also it gives you you can see what else is going on in the industry, what the other not just the competition, but what other brands are doing, be it from any industry. तो वैसे हर कोई इतना look out पे नहीं होता है, but because there is a body which is looking at the entire all sorts of industries and what they are doing, what practices they are doing in advertising, so it gives you more exposure of what's going on.
I think it's one of the जो जैसे कहते हैं हम लोग के biggest reason is the recognition of the work that you guys produce. And if at the end of the year you feel कि हमने वो सब काम, जैसे हम वो 4 parameters कहते हैं, starting from the strategic idea, insight, getting a brilliant insight is also आपका kind of उसके बाद फिर आपका अगर तीसरा पार्ट यानी क्रिएटिव एग्जीक्यूशन जबरदस्त हो जाए and it builds in the insight brilliantly और रिजल्ट्स आपके आ जाए, तो इट मेक्स अ फ्लॉलेस कैंपेन. और हम हर एक दफ़ा जब ब्रीफिंग सेशंस पे भी वेन्यू को वी जस्ट टेल द एंटायर टीम कि आप हमारा फॉर्म उठाएं और आप उस फॉर्म को उल्टे तरफ से वर्क करना शुरू कर दें, और वो आपका ब्रीफिंग हो जाएगा. एक्चुअली दैट शुड कम फ्रॉम द ब्रांड साइड कि यार ये मेरी सारी चीज़ें. तो जब आप वो 3 चीज़ें तो ऑलरेडी फुलफिल कर चुके होंगे, 2 चीज़ें एग्जीक्यूशन वाला पार्ट होगा जो आप लोगों को फिर यू विल गेट इनटू इट एंड देन द रिजल्ट्स. सो वो फॉर्म डे 1 से फिल हो जाएगा और हमें लास्ट डेडलाइन में नहीं मिलेगा, जिसमें एजेंसी और ब्रांड दोनों को सबसे ज्यादा पैसे भरने पड़ेंगे. सो स्टार्ट राइट नाउ आई थिंक, ताकि you're able to do a brilliant job next year also. Thank you so much, Fatma. I think I had a wonderful time with all the females around. But topic भी बहुत मजे का था. It was very close to everyone's heart, and I think over इस पे अब हम लोग उस चीज से बाहर निकल आए. We can create conversations, बात कर सकें. So that's one thing जो मैं कहती हूँ हमारी जनरेशन ने आगे कर दिए इस चीज को, a step forward. And मिलेनियल्स को पता नहीं कहाँ जाएंगे लेके इस चीज को, वो तो हम देखते हैं. अच्छा, there are a few comments which I see. So Wajiha Mariam, मेरे ख्याल से आप लोगों की दो सोच है. Kudos to the team for normalizing the word period. I agree with that completely. Okay, so Sadaf Nasir, I love the myth busting campaign. It was informative. I love the sincere has highlighted menstrual hygiene. Not a lot of brands talk about it. Okay, Saad. Whenever anyone says sincere, everyone is relating sincere with some Hania. I mean Hania Amir who. I only saw Hari. Okay, ये मुझे लग रहा है कि definitely आपकी team member ही. साद बुला ले कहीं आपके आसपास ही बैठा होगा. तेनिया. I will pray to God that Sarah and Tenia win the Oscar as well. So
That's somebody from the agency, I think.
हाँ, मैं बोल रही हूँ आसपास खड़ा होगा लड़का. और so thank you team Sincere. अब जाते जाते एक चीज बता दें कि नाम पे कितना ब्रेनस्टॉर्म हुआ था.
Okay, surprisingly, the name was suggested by a respondent who we used in our researches. One of the random suggestions from respondents, and there were many qualitative research भी की. फिर जब product develop की तो उस पे research, and then so one of them suggested कि sincere is something जो आपको is always there. You can rely on that thing or person or whoever it is. So there were many different name options, and उसमें से then this was selected. And I think हम सबको भी ये काफी name itself काफी अच्छा लगा कि it has a meaning to it. I mean, it's not just a random name, but it has a meaning to it.
And you can build so many campaigns around the name yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
सोचें. So chale, thank you so much Fatma, Tehnia and Sarah. I had a wonderful time. I'm sure it was a very insightful session with you all. हम लोगों ने बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे बात की, coming from your insight to your idea, your results, which were fabulous. And then, building a digital platform or using it interestingly. जिसे हम कहते हैं कि डिजिटल को भी बड़े अच्छे तरीके से यूज करना चाहिए. और आपको so coming back to what I said earlier, जब आप conversations कर रही हैं, how about doing sessions with women? आपने एक चीज तो अचीव कर लिया, आपने उन क्लोज ग्रुप्स में जाके बात कर ली. How about talking to women 1-to-1 या panels पे, I don't know, you can come up with so many ideas, because ये topic ना हम सबके दिलों के बड़े करीब है, तो I'm sure everyone has got so many ideas. चले, lovely seeing you all here, and best of luck. Inshallah taala, hopefully आप लोग जीतें. But to all of you out there, we're still not releasing the actual results yet. We are going virtual this year with the awards because of the current situation. Because अभी तक outdoor कुछ नहीं खुला है, especially we can't have that elaborate event. So what we're doing is that we're having a virtual FE Pakistan show, inshallah, in first week of July. We're going to announce it on Monday, and keep watching our social media pages for updates. And lovely having you all here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.